So, what if I told you that the perfect player for the Indiana Fever literally was drafted by the Fever, could currently be under contract with the Fever, but the Indiana Fever decided that they basically wanted to say, nah, we're going to give up on her after 1 year. So, yesterday, Emily Engstler was unbelievable. Like, it was one of these things where I'm like, Emily Engstler was so good that she was the best. She was the 1A, 1B for Portland yesterday with Carla Late. Like, if you watch the game, obviously you can see here, playing some bully ball here on Beck Allen. Like, she held Stewie to 4 of 11 from the field. And if you're looking here again, like, Emily Engstler with a steal, pushing the floor. She plays the power forward position. Good finish right there. Late in the game, up 5, Emily Engstler swats Stewie. And you're looking at it and it's like, someone said, this is for the Fever and Engstler trade. If you're the Fever, you're not getting Emily Engstler. Like, any chance the Fever had of getting Emily Engstler was a year ago. There was a lot of talk about the Fever bringing back Emily Engstler a year ago from Washington. There was a lot of talk about it. Like, to say that nobody was talking about it, there was a lot of trade rumors of Emily Engstler and people fancy booking Emily Engstler to the Fever. There was talk of it. You are not getting Emily Engstler from Portland. She's too important. Like, if you're the Indiana Fever, you're giving up a first round pick for a rental of Emily Engstler. Like, that is basically it. And the Indiana Fever gave up on her because she got injured overseas. She had a solid rookie year, 5-5. They used a lottery pick on her. And if you even look when it comes to Emily Engstler at look at the way that people talked about it. So if you look at if she was obviously away from the Fever. So if you're looking when it comes down to it, at some of the Reddit posts at the time for how people were talking, it's like, thought she was really good, thought there was small stretch she was better than Nalissa, and played super, they could have played super big with Smith, Emily Engstler, and Egbo. This sucks. I knew the roster crunch was real. And I don't think people understand. She got cut for a team that employed Victoria Saxton, who was a third-round pick who averaged 3 points per game at South Carolina. But again, the Fever's obsession with South Carolina predates the current front office, the current regime. That being said, didn't necessarily land on her feet either. Like, this is one of those things where this is the most obvious, if you know ball. If you know ball, this is the most obvious, like, Draymond, borderline Draymond-esque player, where if you watch the 2024 season, post-Olympic break with her and the Washington Mystics, like, she was key. She was key. She was kind of playing as a small ball center. She was playing as a, big wing. She was playing everywhere. She was playing 2 through 5. And she could shoot the ball. There was a lot of really positive things with Engstler. And she did a little bit of everything. She could play and make a little bit. She could handle. She was this jack-of-all-trades player. The problem is, in the WNBA, they don't like jack-of-all-trades players. Because they care more about the box score. They care more about, like, oh, can you... it's basically, they look at basketball, like, a lot of these WNBA front offices look at basketball like it's 2007, where a Draymond Green would have been out of the league. Because, like, in nowadays, everybody knows that it's like, you know, versatility, being able to do a bunch of things, being able to guard multiple positions, being tough. All of these things matter. Like, all these things matter for a team, for connective pieces. Bringing in these connective pieces matters. But, like, in the WNBA, they want specialists. They're asking for specialists. That's what they want players to be. They want players to be specialists. And she's not a specialist. But she can guard really, really well. She plays her ass off. She runs the floor. And it's one of those things where everyone's like, oh, she was injured, so they cut her. She picked up an injury overseas and they cut her. So instead of, imagine if, again, the Washington Mystics. Imagine if they had just said, you know what, Georgia Amoore tore her ACL, we're going to cut her. The Fever could have suspended her contract till she got healthy. This is the same Fever organization that signed and injured Demiris Dantas. They've signed injured players. She had 4 steals and 4 blocks. Like, she was 3 assists to steal on the block off a 5x5, and I don't think there's ever been a 5x5 in the WNBA. She had 4 steals and 4 blocks. Played 28 minutes, locked down Stewie. Like, she was one of the best players on the floor in this game. And you're looking, and this is exactly what the Fever need. Everyone talks about what the Fever need in that power forward position, and they're signing vets that aren't very good. Like, in an ideal situation, you get a prime Maisha Hines-Allen. Like, that player is kind of an ideal power forward. But, like, Engster would have been everything. And you can say, oh, this is revisionist history. But, like, I'm one of these things where I just want to find how many times have I mentioned Engster on the channel. Again, the Mystics need to make mid-season grades. All of Kiki, heck, even Engster's there. Yeah, they've Shug Sutton. Okay. A year ago, we reused the lottery pick Engster and waived her after her rookie year. The Fever drafted Engster number 4 cut her after her rookie year, and they sure could have used her the last 2 years. She's the ideal outcome for Chloe Bibby. Yeah, I stand by that. She was the ideal outcome. If the Fever just held on to Emily Engster, Lana Smith, and Celeste Taylor, what the fuck happened to Celeste Taylor? She looked real good in Phoenix. Rather than cutting them, I genuinely think they'd be contenders next year, without bringing in another big name free agent. And this was before they brought in Natasha Howard and Dwana Bonner. Again, the person 2 years gave Max Katie Luke cut Emily Engster. Like, I have been on the what the fuck were the Fever doing for a long time. And people are like, oh, but like she was injured. Yeah, she might have missed the first half of of her sophomore year. Could you imagine if Cooper Flagg injured his back? Maybe not Cooper Flagg. Could you imagine if Ace Bailey hurt his back and Ace Bailey and the Jazz cut him? That's the equivalent of that. She was the 4th pick in the draft and she got cut after a rookie year for no reason. For no reason. And you might be saying, oh, the injury is a reason. That's not a good enough reason to cut a fucking lottery pick who was decent as a rookie. Not brilliant, who was decent as a rookie. Like, we're not going to pretend that she wasn't. But, like, the Fever cutting their most ideal player. Because Emily Engster is exactly what they need. They have spent with Natasha Howard, with Mo Billings, with Maisha Hines-Allen. I don't mind Maisha Hines-Allen. But they've spent so much money trying to find the ideal player at power forward. When they had the ideal player at power forward, cut her. She was hardly getting minutes at Washington last year, had opportunities to trade for her last year. There's no doubt about it. If they really wanted to, to give up Dantas. The rumor was it was going to be Dantas in a second. That's what the rumor was, kind of the asking price for Emily Engster. It was you match salaries and you give up a 2nd round pick. It was like Dantas in a second for Engster. I think that's what it was being like reported as. That's what it would cost. And the Fever said no. They've had multiple occasions and on a reserve deal, so on a minimum deal. There has been no more perfect fit. But the problem is that if you don't want to play modern basketball, having a versatile do-it-all player who doesn't specialize in anything, doesn't really matter. But that's the problem, is that whether they want to play modern basketball or not, and I don't think they do necessarily want to play modern basketball, like, they absolutely don't recruit modern, and their roster construction is not modern. Like, the Indiana Fever should be starting Sophie Cunningham at power forward. Like, it is what it is. They're a bad rebounding team anyway. Why not just be good? Why not improve in other aspects rather than being a bad rebound team? But anyway, yeah, that's the video. See you guys.